and welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at Art of J Velez, Instagram at jvelez622. I share comics that I'm working on, as well as a couple doodles and drawings that I do for fun. I
Make sure
decided
to
for my
like,
first
follow,
video,
and
I would
subscribe
start with one of my
if
most
you like this
favorite
channel.
comics out there, Walter Simonson's incredible run that he had with the Mighty Thor. This is actually his second run, but it is his most famous and important run that he had. He had a previous run when he replaced John Buscema between Thor 260 through 271, I believe. This is this is the start of him coming aboard as writer and artist. This is what the actual cover looked like. I actually own this comic. I actually own his entire run in single issues, as well as all the trade paperbacks. This run is very important to me, and it was one of the earlier ones that cemented my love for this medium. As you can see in this image, he is bashing the old Thor logo. Starting in 338, it will have a new logo. But right now, um, this logo is getting smashed. This is a new character that he's also introducing. His name is Beta Ray Bill. His origin will be told inside. So Thor 337, as I mentioned, is very important to me in the love of comic books that I got. I bought this issue, or the trade paperback, when I was in high school, and I just fell in love with both Simonson and Thor. It just was, to me, it was just so good. I went back and purchased everything except the originals, 337 through 340. I bought all those later back when I was an adult, but I actually bought every issue from 341 until the end of his run. And even after, Thor for a while was my favorite, but I quit it before I believe 400. Um, just didn't interest me at that time. But this run is just super good. I want to discuss both the writing and the art of Simonson. We're just going to take an issue at a time. Hopefully, it goes through the entire run. And eventually, do his Fantastic Four run, do his run with Orion. He also did some X Factor with his wife Louise. He was just a penciler. Um, he also wrote Wonder Woman, but did not draw it. Jerry Ordway drew those. We may look at those. But the main reason is Simonson. Simonson is just one of my most favorite artists. He is in my top 10. Absolutely love him. There's just not enough content in on YouTube or anywhere for Simonson. He has he's got an incredible bibliography. He's got some self that he owns, work that he owns, the Star Slammers, and then he's got a Ragnarok series, which is completely different. It's with Thor, but it's not this Thor. So Thor 337 starts with a thread that will be done throughout a lot of his run, in which it starts out. You at this time can't really tell, but something's getting forged right here. One of the things that I love about Simonson, I also draw in my spare time. I do this in my spare time. This is my first video, but just decided I just wanted to do something really cool and just share, like I said, love with comic books. But these, how you see the designs of like flames and these things, those are very, he does this in all his work. It's just so cool. He does a lot of Kirby Crackle. He's even though I don't particularly care for Jack Kirby, I find his art to be stiff. I do respect how he was able to inspire others. And Simonson is definitely inspired by Jack Kirby, and you can see, but Simonson's work is just so dynamic and so good. So as you can see here, something is uh, how they're shaping iron, um, and there's the hands, but you can't really see what else. But it's something big, cosmic, because you see here planets and moons, so it's a something that is being done. Um, so and here you can he's not revealing. The reveal will come at a later time. He's just kind of whetting your appetite. Um, as something's happening, something's being built, but he is not saying what it is. Um, Again, look at this just how he does things. It's just he's amazing. This trade paperback collection here has been recolored, more modern, using more modern colors. But this it's very well worth to get this issue. This issue um, can cost you a pretty penny right now. It's about $100 on eBay. Um, you can probably find it for less, but most comic book stores sell it for about 125 to 150, unless it's graded, and then it can probably cost you more. But the trades are just as good, so you can admire this beautiful art. And then look at this, just boom, and then of course I should have said doom. This, like I said, is going to be a lingering plot line for several issues, as something's happening, and Simonson is building something. It's not all just one and done and off you go. He wants to build an epic, and he, I think, does a wonderful job building that epic. Um, so I won't reveal who he is, but of course this issue is from the 1980s, so you can probably go back if you want to and see who it is if you're interested. This is from, I believe, 1983 when this came out. So just so beautiful. So that was that. This is actually here now, the actual start of the story. Before we go, here's this dude skateboarding. It is just amazing how he creates movement. It's just, look at this. Simonson is just such a master. Everything's so simple yet so elegant. I just absolutely love it. He just gives you enough that you can make the information. He doesn't try to overwhelm you with ultra details. Just every mark he makes is just right on. It's just beautiful. Um, and this, for those of you who don't know, back when Stanley and Jack Kirby created Thor, he did have an alter ego um, by the name of Don Blake. He's a doctor, and he couldn't walk. He had a limp, so he had to have this cane. Um, so he's out here in Central Park, gets hit by a frisbee. Um, just Simonson, like I said, his marks. This is just his ink line, everything about his art. I just love that thick. I'm a very partial to artists with the nice thick line, and if you can just take a look here, it's just wonderful. Very thick and thin. I mean, right here, you can almost just barely see a line right there. But just it's so wonderful. So he is being taken by two gentlemen here and put in this car. And obviously they don't know what's going on. But look again, look at his art. I just want to do one last thing. The lettering here is done by John Workman, who is an amazing letterer. He is one of the top five greatest letterers of all time. Back in the day, they hand lettered these, so these were done in hand letterings. I also want to say I own the artist edition for all these. So the artist edition is where you just see the pen and ink, no colors, no nothing. It looks just like how it was drawn. It's beautiful. And look at this, just perspective. It's just the shots that he uses. It's just amazing. Like I said, the lettering here is not done by Walter Simonson. It is also done by John Workman right here. This is all drawn by the letterer who does all the lettering here. It's just wonderful. One of the things that I love, and I use it in my own work. I just do it for fun. I have a Twitter account and an Instagram account. I just post my stuff for free, kind of working on my own little comic book that I'm doing for fun. I stole the S because I think John Workman does such a wonderful S. So I stole the S. I also stole the E. If you, I know it looks like a regular E, but when you look, this is actually higher. I took his E. A couple, the R. Look at this, the R of his. I also took it. So I grabbed a couple of his letters and I used them. I hand letter. Well, sort of. I work on an iPad, but I actually letter in the iPad. I don't use the fonts that come with it. I actually grab uh, a a layer. I create a layer and I just letter it myself. So this here, so he's in this car, and the driver. For those of you who just watched the Marvel movies, this is Nick Fury. Nick Fury back in the day was a white dude. Um, Marvel has retconned him. I believe Nick Fury. They have Nick Fury now as someone that looks like Samuel L. Jackson. And it is his son. He had a relationship, and um, the new Nick Fury is black. And has the same name. He named him Nick Fury, Nicholas Fury. He is a colonel. He in the movies he's a general, I believe, but he in the comic books he's always a colonel. He is the head of Shield. Um, and he needs Thor. He knows who Thor is. He knows who Don Blake is, and that Don Blake is Thor. So he says he needs them. So how he became Thor is he used his stick and he smashed it against the ground. In this case, he uses the bottom of the car and uses it to turn into Thor. Again, just look at how he does. This is also another trope. The letters, he does the borders, and then the letters just kind of go over it, covering the rest of the border. It's just, it's very cool. You can see it right here and right here. I try to do that as well. Um, he inspires me more than just about more than anybody. Walter Simonson is my number one inspiration. He is my most favorite of all time. Um, Two others are Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee. Todd McFarlane doesn't draw too much, unfortunately. Jim Lee does, but he not as much as he could. But Simonson, his work is just beautiful. So again, he puts in his little Kirby crackle, as these things are called here. And look at this. This is the Shield helicarrier as drawn by Simonson. Look at this thing. It's just so cool. I love how he puts the airplanes like this. Just it's just so cool. It's massive. It's just his him putting this in a full, basically half the page of this helicarrier. It's really cool. About 3/4 of the page actually. So um, for those of you younger, they're using a projector, kind of like they do in the movies. Although now they use digital, but he is giving Thor some information. As you can see, he still hasn't really revealed his Thor. It's still kind of in shadow. And if you remember from the previous page, he doesn't really show him yet. He wasn't on the cover, so he is just slowly building. As you can see here, we are in 6 pages, and we still haven't seen Thor here. We're on page 7. He still hasn't really put him on. He's in shadow. So basically, he's saying that there's a ship. They found a ship. This is what I mean here. Look at the star and just how he. I just love it. It is something that I continue to do. I imitate this all the time. Imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery, and I just love Simonson. He is, like I said, hands down one of the greatest. If there was a Mount Rushmore, he would be on it. He's his so they need Thor to go see what's going on. They sent a probe, but the probe disappeared, probably destroyed. So Nick Fury needs Thor to help. So here we go, and boom! Here finally, after all those pages, he brings in. And look at Thor. This is another trope of his where he signs a page um, during. He normally signs what he believes is his best drawing. He actually will sign. In comic books, most artists don't sign their pages. He does, but he doesn't sign all of them. He just signs one panel or one of the uh, or like if it's a splash, he'll do the whole thing. So this is the money shot, and again, look at his art. Just the movement, the it's just so cool. I love how the T for Thor. Like, all right, who else? I wish they would have used this costume. I think this costume appeared on the fourth Thor movie, on just a small, maybe 2-second blurb when Thor was young. They put him in this costume for like 2 seconds, if even. Um, so he is heading to see what's going on, and then we go to Asgard. We don't know who this is yet, but you can. They're in Asgard. This is Volstagg, who appeared in the second Thor movie. He's pretty prominent. The Warriors Three, as they're called, Balder and Volstagg, Sif. This is Heimdall up here. I don't know if there's that Rainbow Bridge, and there's Heimdall. Again, look at this. It's the sun, the crackle, the just. Simonson is so good. Um, so Balder is had died and came back, and now he's depressed because he just, well, when you die, apparently you come back. It doesn't do much to you, but he is no longer a warrior. He's eating all the time, and he's portly and out of shape. He's not the warrior he used to be. This is Sif. Um, Thor is a lot more serious than what the movies. The movies, he's kind of like that Joker. He's not a Joker. It's one of the things I wish they wouldn't do in the movies. But so Heimdall is here. and Lady Sif is looking for battle. She just wants to fight, um, and is looking just for war. And so now again, here's another money shot of Thor. Just wonderful. I mean, look at this. Just it's just amazing. Um, Thor finds that ship, and the ship fires at him. I love his composition. I mean, he just what a just he's a perfect artist. So he's fighting and trying to see what's going on. Throws a hammer at it. This wonderful lettering by John Workman. The hammer would always return to him. Here's the thing, though. Back in the day, if um, he needed to have the hammer returned, we'll reveal it soon in a little bit. But he's trying to get inside, and this huge hand comes in. Now, of course, based on the cover, you kind of can guess who this is. But um, and look at this building. Obviously, that's Loki here, but look at this beautiful, beautiful composition. Just amazing. Um, and Loki is very evil. Again, not Marvel based on the shows and the movies. It's just so much different than how things are supposed to be. Loki's a bad guy. Always has been a bad guy. These people are hunting trolls, and here's a troll. Um, and this woman gets him, and she is Lorelei. She's the sister of the Enchantress, and Loki needs her to make Thor um, fall in love with her. But it is for another. He's building, as I said. Simonson is building a, a saga. He's building his own mythology, and it's just he's packing a lot into this issue. But he he's setting everything up. Then back in the day, comics were sort of one and done. You maybe got one or two, three things. But Chris Claremont in the Uncanny X-Men started building a things for the future, and Simonson, intentional or not, started doing that and composing these things. He had an idea of where he wanted to go, and he starts packing a lot of that stuff. Meanwhile, Thor is fighting, um, and here's the reveal. Um, if you take a look at Beta Ray Bill, he looks like a horse skull, and that is intentional. He wanted him to look. He thinks the horses are the most noble looking creatures, and he's absolutely correct. Horses are just beautiful creatures, and he wanted it to look like a horse, but not quite with the majesty. He wanted it to look like the skeleton of a horse. So his face does look like a horse skeleton. Um, he's confused here, Beta Ray Bill, which is his name. He's confused because he thinks Thor is one of those bad guys that he's trying to fight. He's um and so he and Thor are fighting. Um, because again, he doesn't know. Neither one knows that it's basically it's two good guys fighting because they think the other person is the bad guy. Um, so Thor right now does not have his hammer. It was knocked down, and Simonson is making sure you take notice of it, and they continue to fight and continue to fight. and fight. Look at this, this composition, just amazing. Here was a thing of back in the day. If Thor did not have the hammer, which again, Simonson wants you to just look and make sure that you know Thor doesn't have his hammer. If he didn't have the hammer within 60 seconds, within a minute, which was what Stan Lee had said, he turned back into Don Blake. Don Blake needed to make sure Mjolnir was in his hands, or Thor needed to make sure Mjolnir was in his hands so he wouldn't turn into Don Blake. Otherwise, he went back to Don Blake, and Mjolnir went and turned back into a stick. If you want to know, feel free. Thor in Journey into Mystery, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby ironed out his mythos pretty well. But Simonson just took it to another level. But they had established, like I said, the Don Blake, Jane Foster, who was his nurse, that love interest. Right now, Jane Foster is out of the picture. He's moved on, and so Beta Ray Bill hits him, and of course he's not Thor, so he gets knocked down. He crash lands, and I just love the composition. It's just amazing work. And he wonders, he was looking for the hammer, and finds a stick, and he just inadvertently hits it, and he turns into a Thor. Not Thor itself, but all he has now is as Thor. What made this so freaking amazing is that at that time, no one had ever lifted Thor's hammer but Thor. This is the first time, not Captain America, nobody. It's the first time anybody other than Thor in 1983, other than Thor, that lifted his hammer. Nobody else had done it. So, Beta Ray Bill becomes kind of like a Thor. He throws at Nick Fury, unknowing that he just thinks they're the enemy, and realizes that Mjolnir has now returned to him. And look at this. Look, not just is this an amazing, but just Simonson's art is just amazing. And they're just trying to get rid of him. They think he's a danger. And suddenly Odin appears, and he needs Thor. He cannot tell that this is not Thor. And just basically calls for Thor, and he disappears. He takes Beta Ray Bill, and they find, here comes Donald Blake. He realizes that Odin took Beta Ray Bill and left him, and just calls out for him. And this is the end of the issue. Art and story, Walter Simonson. Here's John Workman, who's just an amazing letterer. And I love this. I have replicated this in my little stories, just the whole thing here with this little border on the lettering and these little, just amazing. So anyway, there you have it, Thor 337. I hope you enjoyed it, and as all the other YouTubers say, like, follow, subscribe. And like I said, this is my first video, so hopefully it'll get better. Thank you. Bye.